This one's taking a while. Okay, I just made this whole thing disappear. Sorry. Okay, so now, hi guys, you made it. Come off of, you're on mute.
No, it's better that way.
Okay, so hi everybody. We are finally launching our rules and law meeting. Supposed to start at 2. It's now 2:10. And it's November 18th, 2000, and we're going to discuss our creation of the DORA. So this is our second meeting where we're going to get down to the details. Out of this meeting, I expect to come all the information we need for the application because we're pretty much there. We just have a few decisions to make. So present are our full committee, myself, Maggie Palazzolo, Marcy Lewis, co-chair, and Rob Bartlett, and then along with Bill Brown and Chief. So let's see. So I'm just going to go through our items in order of the application to keep it really clean and simple as far as discussion. So Ohio has outlined a very clear process for application in terms of the criteria that they need in order to evaluate and grant us permission to create a DORA here in Mariemont. So section 1 is a clear outline of the street boundaries. So our initial conversation last meeting was around, do we want to keep it small in the main town square, or do we want to try to take it over to the old town square in addition? And so we decided to go big, and we're going to take it over to the old town square. There's one criteria that we're given, and it's based on the size of the community. If you're under, I think it's 35,000 residents, you are allocated, what is it?
150. Well, 150 contiguous acres, which is equivalent to 0.234 square miles.
0.234 square miles. So when we drew, well, Rob did the work on this one. When we drew out what we wanted it to look like, can I screen share? I don't know if I can do. Rob, do you have your file handy? Are you able to screen share it?
I do see share screen, and I can go.
Yeah, I can help you.
Okay, so let's do that. So Rob took a stab at how this may run. And so in doing that, he took it down, what was it, Madisonville? So we started it over by Graders at the end of the Beach Grove. And then it continues on through the main square of Mariemont, including the fountain, and then goes down into the Old Town Square via Madisonville Road. And then it turns, so it would encompass Murray at the far north in that Old Town Square area, and then bring it over to Old Town. And he was getting nervous that we may have exceeded may exceed our territory if we went further. So in this kind of...
Are you including the Strand? Is the Strand included?
Yes,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
Strand is completely included.
Okay.
The main
down.
area is completely included. You'll see in just a sec.
Yeah, I'm trying to get these so I can rotate them and get them in the right shape.
Okay. So what we ended up doing is cutting out Dale Park and not taking it down Wooster on the way to Old Town. My preference is that we would do that, only for the reason that I think it's intuitive for a walker to go that way. And if we suddenly say, nope, can't walk on the main road, I think that might get confusing. So if we're able to fit that section into this plan and still meet the criteria for the allotted amount of land we are allowed to have in our DORA, I suggest that we do.
Okay, so I'm sharing. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the original. This is the first cut, and the thing that was an aha for me was reading this application or the application process, is it talks about the streets, and originally we were talking about individual streets, but it's like these streets are the boundaries, so everything inside of those streets is part of the DORA. And I think when Maggie and I first read this, we thought, oh, you can have an individual street that just branches out, but no, it's everything enclosed. So this was the first one, and so everything from, going along the Pike, down Oak, cross Murray, back Madisonville, and then the whole square area too. We got in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know if that's the question. Is that too big or not? Because the other one that I just sent, let me see. I can share the other one too. Hold on a sec. Is that it? I think that's. try this one then. Is it, oh, is that the same one? You guys see the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I gotta find it. It's hard to see which one. Crap. Okay, never mind. Instead, the other one I sent to Maggie and Marcy last night was cutting it off at Chestnut. So Chestnut to Madison. So just cutting off Dale Park. It just sort of cleaved off Dale Park, depending on how much space it is. You know, again, we can't be bigger than 0.234 square miles with this.
Yeah. So anyway, my preference, just because it's a natural, of course, I'm pointing to my map and you can't see it. I think a natural flow would be that we can include Dale Park, because that way we can allow people to just walk down Wooster, which is kind of a main way to go. And so I think our next step to answer that question would be to call Chris and say, hey, so we're going to send him this document and say, could you please calculate what the area is inside of these boundaries? And then if we make it and we can do this would be what we would make the DORA. And then if it's too much, we're going to try to cut off the Dale Park section and say, okay, well, what if we, don't do that.
Right. Yeah,
So if you cut off the Dale Park section, would that still include the Old Town Square, or would it just Plainville be the?
No, it would be.
It would go down Plainville and then it would go down Chestnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again,
so that little square would be off.
Yeah. So you're just cutting off literally Waldorf and the church and the fountain,
The statuary.
Statuary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you. So that would be the fallback position, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, the statuary is a nice place to sit. Wooster's an easy path to walk that. So if we can keep it, it would be lovely. If we can't, we will still be okay.
And then you could turn MPF into a bar then.
Yeah. My only thought on this is that it seems like the map that we're looking at now, I mean, the one where we're going down the Pike and we're going down Madisonville Road to Murray and then, over Oak. It seems like the bulk of that is just in a residential area. I mean, I'm not really sure.
So here was our kind of guiding plan, hopefully, is that in addition to using this to highlight the existing businesses in Mariemont as we stand currently, this is a useful business development tool, so that if we have the Old Town Square included in our DORA, A, it allows people to, wander around and view it currently, but B, as building, tenants change, if we had somebody interested in going into that, it's an additional selling point for us to say, you're already included in this, social thing that we set up to allow people to flow to your business, come to your business, wander around.
Well, I'm certainly not opposed to the Old Town Square being into it. It's just that you're routing down Madisonville Road, then across Murray to the north. It just seems like that's taking in a lot of residential area that we might not necessarily have to take in.
The thought with
down Wooster to Plainville to Chestnut.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, well, that was the fallback we talked about, Bill. The thinking about going down Madisonville to Murray is, again, if Columbia Township is redeveloping, that will connect sort of with Green Papaya, and they're talking about redeveloping their old fire department building that's there.
Right.
So, if we create something that's there that could connect to us, that might be, again, it could attract more people to walk up and see the square from down there or something like that.
But can you go from one DORA to another?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
I think that's a question.
Yep.
I mean,
for example, let's say our existing map is too big, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you can't go from one DORA to another. I mean, maybe it makes more sense to cut it off and cut out that little section of Madisonville, come down West Street.
Yeah, or even come down Plainville, like you said, and cut over on Murray.
And still include Dale Park. So
and that would be fine, because even if we did include Dale Park, even if we cut out the elementary school and Paris Center by, coming down Wooster and then down Plainville to Murray and across to make the square there. That would be, I think, less area, and it would still be like catty corner to Murray and Plainville, which is where we kind of meet up with Columbia Township. So, I mean, it could be done.
Well, let me ask you this, Maggie or Rob. Say we more tightly define that for now, like we go down Plainville and we get over Town Square. I mean, this can be added to if Columbia Township ever gets around to developing that area along North Murray there. Can't we expand it then if we wanted to?
Sure,
We
absolutely.
can't exceed our limit though, right?
Well, no,
No.
I'm just saying though, that we're not locked in. Whatever we would submit, we're not locked into it. We can change it later if need be, if we want to.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, so how do you feel about it? Do you guys want to just do this Plainville to
Well,
Murray?
why don't we get the date? Why don't we get the data from
Okay.
Chris first? Let's start with the biggest one and say, okay, how much is that? How many square miles is the biggest one? And then, okay, if we lopped off the elementary and parish center, how much would that reduce it to, or whatever? But let's get the data to find out what the numbers are.
Yeah, no,
Okay. I'm going to contact Chris right after this meeting and try to get that ball rolling, because I know he's not going to be like, yeah, sure, let me go do it right now. I think it'll take him some time. So,
Well, hey guys, just as a sort of an aside here, you're concerned about this square footage area thing. Isn't the entire village of Mariemont, not counting the industrial park, 1 square mile?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's no way we're going to exceed this. We're fine no matter what we do.
it
It should
looks
be.
pretty easy to me. It looks like a slam dunk, but
Okay.
let's measure.
Well, and the thing is, Bill, is with the application, we have to submit something that's certified anyway by a surveyor or an
Yeah,
engineer.
no, sure.
And-
Okay, so the other question though, okay, if you look at it, I mean, this is just thinking outside the box, and I'm just putting this out there for consideration. So we're going this way to include the old town square.
Hmm.
But if we look at it and we're trying to partner with Columbia Township and we don't know the answer about crossing Dora, does it make sense to try to go the other way to include the promenade and the restaurants there? I don't know the answer.
It's kind of a hike.
It is,
We don't have any reason to send people down that direction. It's
yeah,
not-
there's really nothing in between.
yeah.
But
If
I mean,
there were, yeah.
I was talking about it with a couple of residents and just asking their thoughts. And, that was one question that came up.
So there's another weird thing about Doras that I learned, and it's in that Ohio document, is that you are permitted to have multiple Doras, but again, it's, I think, no more than 2.
But
And-
you have to have more than 50,000 people though to have.
Exactly. So, but that's where I'm going with Columbia Township. They have these 9 islands of non-contiguous space. And so there's no guarantee if they're only allowed to do 2, if they decide to do 1, would it even be any of these places? We don't know that. So, I don't know if we want to bet on them doing the promenade at some point.
Columbia Township wouldn't have nowhere near 50,000 people either.
They don't, I don't know how many people they
I
have at
suppose.
all
Right.
with all those chunks of space. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So thank you, Rob. That was very helpful for the map.
I will stop sharing.
Okay. So the next, let's see, the next item is in terms of the health and safety. And that has to do with police, fire, EMS, any extra shifts. And also if we want to place any extra garbage cans. So I think we've discussed this already. I just want to cap it off. I don't think we need any extra police shifts. And I don't think we need any extra garbage cans because we intend to use these reusable cups. Is everybody okay with that statement?
So, well, one thing I wanted to clarify about that,
Mhm.
because I was talking with somebody who had gone to the Dora in Loveland,
Mm-hmm.
and it was their understanding that you couldn't take the cup inside, like say I get my drink at the Quarter and then I go to eat at the Dilly Deli. You either have to finish your drink before you can take it in there. Is that right?
I imagine that would be the way it works with liquor laws. But you can take the cup.
But the cup itself is reusable.
Correct.
And there's only one cup. It's not restaurant specific.
Correct.
It just lists the restaurants on it.
We could or not. We could just have it say Mariemont, Dora, or we could do whatever we want. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Hey, Maggie, before you move on here,
Mhm.
before you just kind of decided that we don't need any extra police, I mean, did you talk to the chief about this?
I mean, we talked about it last time a little bit,
Okay.
and I was under the impression that we weren't, but we can talk about that if you want.
No. I didn't remember us talking about it, but no, I agree with you. I don't see any reason why we need any extra. As long as we don't have, and I don't see this causing us any problems with nasty drunks or people fighting or anything like that. So no, I agree. We would not. No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
And Maggie, when you talked to Milford, did they add any?
They did not.
No, I wouldn't think so.
How long have they had theirs, Maggie?
It began in July.
Yeah, so, okay, so
He
it's
said
not
they
a
had
long.
nothing. Yeah, he
not
said they had
long.
nothing but positives.
Yeah, now, if you were in the city of Cincinnati, then absolutely you'd need more police coverage.
Yeah.
Right.
You said that's July 2019, right? That's the date that's on the.
Yeah, July. I'm
notification.
sorry, July 2019. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So a year and a half almost.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as far as trash cans, I'm kind of viewing it the same way. If we're doing, reusable cups, I don't see, and I honestly don't see like a church festival party atmosphere developing at any point in time. Like if we had an event, maybe we would add extra trash cans the way you would anyway, but I do not see a need for normally having extra receptacles.
Well, and besides, hey, Maggie, that can be adjusted, as we go forward with this kind of thing. It's so
for
simple to
sure.
get out an extra can or two,
Yeah, I'm asking the question on the front side, not saying we can't adjust. It's just that in the application, they ask you to
No, I got you.
and
Yeah.
make a statement. So I'm going to make the statement that I don't think we need any extras.
Well, the one thing is a little bit of concern, just because I had some complaints this week about people using behind the concourse as a restroom.
Yeah.
There isn't really any public restrooms in that area. If people are walking around with a drink and they can't take the drink into any establishment except the one they bought it from full. Then even then, how would you know you didn't buy it at that? I don't know. But is that a concern, the lack of public restrooms?
I addressed that with the guy I interviewed, who's the city manager in Milford. And I had made the comment, I thought it was really smart that they had included their park on the river because they happen to have public restrooms in that park.
Right.
And I think in our last meeting, I kind of offhandedly said, we could, and this is all up to our ability to do so in terms of space, we could include, the bell tower park at some way. But I don't know if, what else we'd have to do to make it fit space-wise. We could ask for Chris to measure some boundary of that.
Yeah, but
And
they're
that would-
kind of off the beaten path to.
They are, and they're closed in the winter, which I don't know if
That's
Milford's
what I
are
was gonna say. Yeah, we're closed. They could close them in the winter, so it wouldn't do any good.
in the winter.
Yeah.
I foresee this being busier in the spring and summer anyway, but it's up to you guys. I'm open to that. I think it's the bigger the better for me, but I don't know what we need to do in terms of making our space limit.
But I think like you brought up an interesting point, Marcy. Yeah, if you're walking around with the same cup and it's used in all the establishments, how do you know where you bought the drink? I don't know. It just, if you walk in,
You can't,
But-
it's got to be empty. I don't know.
somebody's going to check you at the door and say, is that thing empty or not? But anyway, if they go into an establishment, one of the 5 places where if they want to go in and buy a drink or whatever, I'm assuming, because they all have, I'm thinking of all the 5 that we have on our list, they all have restrooms in them, right?
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So,
And I guess,
I
I guess worst come to worst, you could, with whoever you're with, you can say, hold my drink and run in there,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, you're a patron. If you're going in because you're getting a drink or you're socializing or you're getting an appetizer or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
I mean, you're utilizing the establishment, and I imagine at that point you're eligible to use the restroom there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're ordering something from there, definitely you should be able to, you're using it then.
Not at Graders.
Not at Graders.
The last I checked, they weren't selling alcohol though. So.
Yeah. But hey, those sodas can make you go.
I mean, literally every time we sit down at Graders, one of my children's like, I have to go potty
It's a
right
problem.
now.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know. Do you want to try to measure over there in the park, or do you?
I think I mean, if again, with all those 5 places that are going to have, that'll be serving, and they all have restrooms. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess if we find in the future that people are using it, like they're kind of picking up takeout and a couple drinks and going over to the bell tower to eat, then I guess we can expand it if we have room.
Yeah, if we have.
I guess we'll know to what extent our limit is.
Mm-hmm. I'm making notes. Sorry.
Yeah, Meg, because we do have the what you call it, pavilion over there with the picnic tables and things at the bell tower. But so in the spring and the summer, it might be worthwhile to sort of explore that as an option.
I know. And also, like, if you have your kids and, we've done that. We've gone out to dinner with friends and then taken the kids over there to play so we can chat. So,
I mean, is it possible, this is kind of tangential, but that's just kind of the way I think. Is it possible to put picnic tables in the median or just a place or bench or something? Or is that just not advisable because your people are crossing the street?
With drinks?
No.
I wouldn't advise it because of people crossing Worcester Pike.
Yeah.
But there are some benches, again, down by the statuary and stuff like that. There's benches, public benches that are there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you could put benches on the Comey side of the square. If we needed, just
if we wanted to.
Well,
It doesn't have to be part of this.
and that's private property, so I guess we'd have to get permission.
Yeah. And obviously there are the benches in the middle of the square too.
Right. But those get pretty full in the summers. Or where the other place it's possible that we might be able to. Oh, I guess it wouldn't be included in the door. Never mind. I was thinking across from Jordan Park. But that's not included.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Right.
There are benches down there though, Marcy. A lot of benches.
There are.
Yeah.
Well,
Nobody's on them.
there are benches over at the tennis courts too.
There are.
And if we build that beautiful patio.
Build that patio out there. Yeah.
I see why you wanted to include them. Okay. All right. Okay. So,
There's restrooms. There's restrooms at the tennis courts.
Yes. Okay. Well, now you just have to unlock the doors for us. Okay. So moving on, if that's okay, can we move on? And so do you want to go ahead and try to measure the park or no? We're going to stick with not.
I think I'm okay with not for now.
Okay. So we'll exclude the park for
I
now.
think it makes sense to stay concentrated where the businesses are.
Okay. That's fine. So signage is so in the application, we are required to talk about the placement and the size of the signage that we will use. I'm going to go out on a limb here based on my experience in Mariemont with signs and say that we will probably use those pretty brown wooden signs. Okay, because we're not going to go ODOT style and have people flip out. So if you look at what Milford did, I mean, because there's a description in how it has to be done. It's to be done at all the boundaries. And then essentially you'll see with Milford that they, where their little triangles come together, they have signage, I guess, to keep people clear on where they are and are not allowed to walk. So they have that main first, like if you look at what is the east on their map, their first kind of triangle that points to the west. And then they have this larger section. So there's these two little signs that mark that narrowing. So when you look at what Rob did, I think we're in pretty good shape to put, 4 at the outer boundaries and then, 1 down on Murray, maybe where that end happens. And then 1 kind of in that, I don't even know what to call that odd shaped center area kind of at the south side of that boundary. Does that make sense?
Hey, Meg, what's it say about the size, shape, and so on and so forth about the sign?
Rob, do you have that in front of you? Because I do not.
Well, yeah, I do have it here. So is there boundary? Is that under the boundary sections?
I think there's a sign section, sort of. Hang on.
There's a sign section?
I mean, it might be in that section, but it's called out.
Huh.
Hang on. Okay.
Let's see.
Of course, my computer wants to install something fancy right now. Okay. Use public health.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about the
Maybe
sign.
it's not. I thought I remembered there being something pretty specific in here.
Well, I guess my only concern is, I mean, that they're not like gigantic signs or something.
No.
Reasonable in size and like you said, we can do them in our, in our brown and white color scheme and.
Right. Here's where I just found it. It's in Appendix B, number B, I'm going to say, like B1B. It says one of the things they require in our application is the number, spacing, and type of signage designating the area. So we need to have decided on the type and the spacing of it. It actually does not address sign size.
So it doesn't have a required spacing. You just have to have the boundaries.
Yeah, because I really think that, any municipality is going to be in a funny, different shape. So they really can't make a lot of rules. So they're they're going to say, if we do one sign for the whole thing, like you need to be more specific. I think they'll have feedback for us, but.
Well, don't you think before we know how many signs we're going to have, we need to define our further,
We need to
delineate
decide
our boundaries, know those for sure.
Yep.
And then once we have decided and we're within the area that we want to do, then just go and kind of make a count and probably even go out and look.
Yeah, I mean,
not
what
just sit
I would
here on a map. It's just walk the space and say, where does it make sense to have signs?
Yeah, what I propose, just to, expedite the process, is that, we know what we're thinking about in terms of the spacing. I would just say, Chris, these are the types of signs we want. We want the Mariemont standard, the brown and white color scheme that we normally use. And it needs to be at the boundaries of this, this place. And then can you make a recommendation to us based on his experience?
So like Milford's is 92 acres out of the 150, and they have 7 signs
Right.
covering 92 acres, which is pretty spread out. So.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea? I mean, what happens? I mean, is it a big deal if somebody wanders outside the boundary? I mean, how much, like, are we in trouble with the liquor control board or some damn thing?
No, not if we fulfill our requirements.
Okay.
If somebody does it, they might be in trouble.
They get cited
Yeah,
for open container.
yeah, but we, again,
You'd warn them.
common sense comes into play. If it's somebody that's behaving themselves and they're, a block outside the boundaries, Mariemont police is not gonna come down with a iron fist on something like that. There's departments that will, but it's not us.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Meg, I see on your list here of the designated businesses, did anybody contact the Scott over at Emory?
Not yet. He's on my list. I have contacted Chuck from the Dilly Deli, and he's very supportive. I contacted Lisa Hopkins and talked to her in person. She was really excited. And then I followed up with her with an email and copied Bill Spinnenweber also. And I haven't heard back from him. I understand that he is totally drowning right now, so I'm not going to bother him right this second. And then today, before the end of the day, my goal is to call Jim Evans, the restaurant's closed on Monday and Tuesday, so I wanted to give him his full weekend. And then Randy Lips from La Rosa's, not that they have a liquor license, but I want to give him a heads up. And then Bill, you talked with the theater.
I did talk, well, I talked to the theater regarding, I also talked with Scott and Emery about the Dora. I mean, so he
did. Okay. I can
he's definitely on board with it. He's very much in favor of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to take him off my list since that's really what I'm doing is.
Well,
giving-
you know, I guess I would like to have just written documentation that you've talked to them and they're in agreement. So if you could write them an email and have them, you know, have a correspondence, I just think that's clean.
Okay.
You know, and the whole idea of transparency and public record and.
I don't have emails for all of these people. I do for some. And I also did say to each of the people I spoke to that I would be keeping them in the loop in terms of when we do have this come up at the full council and people can come in and talk about things with us, that they would be, I will personally notify them that that meeting will happen and what time, so that if they want to join in, they can.
Maggie,
Well, you need your emails for that. So, or I guess you could call them.
Yeah, I'll have to get some of them.
what's the timetable, Maggie, for when we think this can actually come about?
Well, I would like to have our decisions made at the end of this meeting, and then go to Chris for measuring. And then essentially we'll turn it over to the village to create the application. And then we have our readings in council. So we could start that as early as Monday, as long as people are comfortable with.
No, I think, Maggie, when I read this again, I think, well, the step is, this committee needs to turn an application into the council. Council needs to put it in the newspaper for 2 weeks that we're going to have meetings to discuss it.
Oh, prior to
And-
the meetings.
And
Okay.
then we can start to have the readings.
Okay.
So,
But we're not filling out an application.
But hey, Chief, the end point is by spring.
Yeah.
Okay, that, yeah.
So, the end point is spring.
So you think it'll be spring, not sometime in the next 2 months or whatever then? That's not enough time.
No, we can't get through there. Because again, first step is this committee needs to send something to council, an application using the stuff that
Yeah,
you shared with us. Second step is the village then needs to post it in the newspaper for 2 weeks. Then we can start having to go through 3 readings. And so that is going to put us at least into end of January, maybe early February before we have the meeting. Then we have to submit it to this Columbus.
And
then
they
have
take
to
90
review it and
days.
approve it. And
Yeah.
so,
spring would be a good time for
March.
Do we need legislation on this?
Yeah, there's an ordinance. That's what Maggie shared before from Milford. This is their ordinance.
Yeah,
Is
this
it-
is their
Okay,
ordinance.
is this an Ed thing or a Frost thing?
I think this is an Ed thing. It seems pretty simple.
Okay.
So, I think that's what I'm trying to nail down in this meeting is essentially what details we would put into the application we would send to council, because we're going to send them a full thing. I think where I'm, where the signage is kind of up in the air, is it okay with our committee if we have everything nailed down except for that, and then we let Chris kind of advise us on that? I'm okay with that.
On which part? On the what?
On the signage, like placement of signage.
Yeah, I don't care about the placement thing as much as I do what the damn sign's gonna look like.
And that is completely up to us. So what I'm writing in my notes is that we will use the standard Mariemont wooden signs with brown and white writing.
But
And
how
is
big are they-
there a standard message of the sign that says, Dora boundary, or are you supposed to say entering Dora, leaving Dora? I mean, like, was there a
They do
standard
not.
message?
No, you need to designate it. And I wouldn't call it a Dora. I would actually use the full name, the designated outdoor recreation area.
I mean, do you have a picture of what like Milford's signage say or
They did
Loveland's
not,
signage
actually.
say?
They didn't include that. We can go take a picture and see. I mean, I just think if I were doing it, I would put, Mariemont designated outdoor recreation.
Yeah, because, hey, Meg, I mean, what I'm really talking about is, I don't want some 3x3 sign.
3 foot by 3 foot, is that what you're talking about? No way.
I don't want that. I'm kind of hoping like a 12 by 12 inch.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Well,
Okay. Okay,
some of these signs are going to be in the historic district, so you need to get ARB approval for this,
Right.
right?
yeah, right. But you know, if we got the color scheme is good and the size is not offensive, then
Mhm.
it's easy to get through.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it would be on the
I'm
boundaries.
going to
of
note too that the
historic
ones in the
area.
historic district will go through the ARB.
Of course, you know, if the mayor were the chair of the ARB, then it might be easier. I don't know. Did anybody got a
Oh
thought?
yeah,
on
he could just ram it through, no problem. Yeah.
Right. You could just have a meeting and only you could go, and then you could.
Hell, why
I'm
even call
cool.
a meeting? I'll just sign off on it.
I
Why bother?
Yeah. It's just a thought.
It just happened. It just happened in my head. Yeah.
You could consult yourself. District will go.
But I do think like I could see a sign being at where the Old Town Square is when you're starting to before you leave it, right? You know.
Right.
And that's going to be smack dab in the middle of the historic district. So.
Right. Okay, so I noted that we'll use the standard Mariemont signage, wooden sign, same colors, and then the signs in the historic district will go through the ARB. But other than that, we're going to let Chris advise us on placement. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like Marcia's idea about you know, if we can get a photo of whatever, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what there says, what Milford says, you know.
I am under quarantine. Can I have a volunteer to go take a picture of a sign in Milford?
They could, if you email them, they could probably send you one.
I might do that.
Or I can do it, Maggie. It's no big deal.
Or,
Okay.
or the other thing is, you know, Loveland has one,
Yes.
and they have, you know, they've paid a lot of attention to their historic district.
They have.
So maybe we can find somebody in Loveland and email them if anybody's out that way.
Does anyone know? I don't know people there, but I'm happy to cold email somebody. That's fine.
I know the police chief, so I can get to whoever I need to if you want me to do that for you.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
I'm just thinking that I know they pay a lot of attention to their signage and stuff there. Not that Milford doesn't, but you know,
I'll get a photo of both of them if you guys want me to. No
That would
problem.
I
be
think they
really
made a conscious effort to create a certain aesthetic there, I guess.
mhm.
So it might be nice to see a couple examples as opposed to just one.
Yep.
Or kind of come up on our own.
Yep. Okay, and then in terms of the next section that they have listed is just their permit holders in terms of liquor license. And there's an Ohio database I found, and all you need to do is type in the area and all the liquor license holders come up along with the status of their license and the type. I am not an expert on what these types are, but they are important. So as you'll notice in this Exhibit C for Milford, you can hold multiple types of a liquor license. And so you must list them all. So I will make that list. And
Can I just ask a question about liquor licenses? I mean,
I'm not going to know the answer, but you're welcome to ask it.
Well, no, Bill might, or Rob might, or Chief might, for that matter. So I was, just heard like through the grapevine, there's only a certain number of liquor licenses in a certain number of area. Are we at our limit for the historic? I mean, not the historic district, but for the square. Can you get a liquor license in the Old Town Center if you were thinking about opening a restaurant over there?
I would think you could, but there is a limit to how many can be in the
Per
building.
square foot or per?
Yeah, I don't know how many is actually what that limit is. I could check into that.
Or are we at our limit? Because I'd always heard like
it is the population has something to do with it, and the square miles of the village or the city has something to do with it
I mean,
also.
that may be a peripheral issue, and I'm sorry if that's
Well, I mean, obviously Emory just got one.
Yeah.
So,
Did they?
well, they had to. I mean, I know they're going to
I
be
didn't-
serving wine over there.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, but
Yeah.
I have to sign on those. I haven't signed one
Oh,
for
you haven't
them
signed
yet,
one yet?
but
No.
I'm sure it's coming.
sure
Yeah,
it's
well,
coming. Yeah,
they're going,
'cause-
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay. We're getting close to 3. I want to end at 3, so we may not get through everything. But the hours of operation we discussed briefly.
Oh, I have another question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So we submit our application, they approve our application, and then, as I understand it, we have to have that public notice. And so at that time, if there's a public outcry, it could just die. Is that right?
Well, again, it's actually, I think about it, there's 4 steps that they laid out in the thing that, so again, this group needs to give an application to council. Then council puts it in a newspaper for 2 weeks.
Okay,
Then council can start to have the readings,
Full meet.
okay,
of the ordinance and go through the 3 normal readings. And then once the 3rd reading's done, then we can submit it to Columbus and see what.
okay. Okay, I just wasn't sure what where we started and where we finished. Thanks for
Yeah.
clarifying. And it was probably there, but I didn't read it thoroughly.
It's okay. So in terms of hours of operation, I know we talked about, if we end up walking people by the school, obviously we'd try very hard not to have people walking by with alcohol during school hours. Milford's is, as an example, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 10 and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11 until midnight. If we wanted to truly make an effort to avoid school hours, Monday through Thursday, we may push it to 4:30 or 5. I remember getting a nod from Chief when we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be good, Monday through Thursday for sure. Because you're not going to have as many people as you will on Friday, Saturday, and even in early on Sunday.
Right. So Monday through Thursday, what do you think the appropriate hours should be?
I would push it to 5 just because there are like kids from school hanging around at Starbucks and stuff.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and there's activities there used to be activities.
So school, so school's done at 3:30. I mean, pretty much by 5, I think they'd clear out. And I don't think most of the restaurants, but again, I think that's something where we could ask them, if you're going to be communicating and just say, we're considering these hours,
Mhm.
What are your patterns?
Yeah, I mean,
They
the 2
could
people that I've
contribute-
talked to, I've proposed the fact that we would look at probably 4:30 or 5-ish on the Monday through Thursday section, and they were fine with that.
And they end at 10, Maggie?
They end at 10 on these Monday through Thursday, and then the Friday,
Midnight.
Saturday, Sunday is midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, which at this point is a moot point anyway, because I believe we still can't sell alcohol after 10.
Yeah, that's, yeah, but hopefully at some point in time,
That'll be
that's going
off
to go
by
away.
spring.
Yeah, hopefully.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what would you guys like the start time to be?
What did you say Milford did?
Milford does 11 a.m. to midnight.
Noon?
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. It's like, holy cow.
10 a.m., that's some early drinking,
As
boy.
soon as you get out of church.
What do you think, Rob, noon?
Yeah, I would think noon would be fine,
So noon to midnight. I think 12 hours of drinking is plenty. The average
Well,
person?
10 hours of solid drinking
Let's
might
look-
cause
let's
lots of
Let's
problems.
look at this though. I mean, the Dilly Deli is open. I guess the quarter isn't open.
Correct.
I don't know what the Emery's going to be. The Exemplar is.
Yep.
I just don't know if people are, I mean, I know you don't want to be restrictive, but if there's going to be objection, I think there'd be less objection if it started later,
Correct.
just because of people have concerns about, kids in soccer practice, kids crossing to do this, kids coming to the square to go to graders.
Mhm.
That might be something that's, I think our downtown district is a little more kid friendly maybe than Milford's. That's just my thought.
I don't think we're gonna have sloppy drunks, though, people that's gonna be, at
Speak
least.
for yourself, Chief.
What's that?
Speak for yourself.
Well, if we do, Marcy, then that's something that my office is gonna deal with, yeah.
Okay. Well, we actually have everything that we need. Chief, the only thing I see in here that's very detailed that I don't know offhand about Mariemont that you would, they make a statement in their application that the Milford Police Department staffs a minimum of 3 officers and a sergeant 24 hours a day. If you were to make that statement for Mariemont, what would your numbers be?
Well, we staff 2 officers per shift. And then there are 2 days a week where we would have 2 officers and a lieutenant or sergeant. But really 2 officers staff per shift would be what I would put on paper.
Okay, so if I make the statement, Mariemont staffs a minimum of 2 officers per shift, that's a true statement.
That's correct.
Okay, I'll make that statement, and that way if we go over and above, that's just good.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Do you guys have anything else?
So you're going to go ahead and try and put together the actual application then?
Yeah, and honestly,
That goes to council, the one that goes to council.
So if you look at what Milford gave us as an example, there's a huge section in the front with the ordinance. I am not going to even touch that. That'll be it.
The thing you sent us says, here's what needs to be submitted.
Yeah, and so basically what I'm going to do is take the exhibits from the Milford stuff, which is basically where they talk about the permit holders, the signage, the shape of the DORA. I'm going to contact Chris right away and see if he can measure by Monday, even if he just gives a verbal update of the measure. So my report will basically be, brief summary of our conversation and what we talked about with an addendum that would include all of this information, and I'm going to call it an application. And then if we approve the details or amend and then approve the details, we can hand that over to Ed at that point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah. I think it sounds good.
And then, Bill, as long as we approve it in council, then can we have permission at that point in time to put the ad in the paper?
Sure. Yeah. At that point. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's,
So yeah, I think those are our next steps.
well, the way Rob is outlining the steps, it's a must.
Yeah, well, it's a requirement before we can do more, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like 2 weeks, so that would encompass that period of time between meetings.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since the only meeting in December is the third Monday.
I'll see that it gets in.
Okay, well, I will do my best to get this report as clean as possible and then send it around for signature.
Let me think, Debs.
Be done. I really appreciate all the time, guys. Thank you, Chief, for advising.
Sorry, Meg.
Oh, you're fine. I just said thank you, Chief, for advising. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the work. I think it's a good thing.
So
Yeah.
Bill and Chief, are you gonna be there for a few minutes? I want to head over and talk to you guys. Are you gonna stick around for a few?
Hey, Meg, just to be clear, do you want me to talk to the guy at the theater in Emory to get him to send in the email to you?
Get his email. I would love his email. That'd be really nice. Yeah.
Well, either I'll get it or I'll get him to send you an email confirming that they want to be part of it.
That would be fine. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to get in writing from everyone, that they want to. I was fine with their verbal. I mean, I feel like we trust each other enough that I talked to Lisa and I talked to Chuck, and they're fine with being part of it. But yeah, emails would be good because then I need to start sending out. I mean, I have Lisa and Chuck's, and now I can send out.
I'll get the other 2 for you.
Okay. Super. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, good job,
Meg.
Maggie.
Good job.
Nice job, Maggie.
Yeah.
Thanks.